Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobby, and I will be your guide for today. Today, I'm going to channel my team, part of my team, the Cyanians. So I will get into their energy soon by reliving a dream that I've had when they came to me. It was one of those very, very vivid dreams, a dream that felt so real, like yeah, if you've ever had those sort of dreams where they really do feel real. And then when I tap into them, I will pull through some messages. But I do know that I know that they're wanting to bring through messages about the untouchables. So we're going to definitely discuss that. And we'll go from there. Hey, Wade, good to see you again. 3 days in a row, right? Okay. I will pull some cards with this because this is supposed to be like a channel tarot message. I do a lot of just channeling, but we'll see where we go. And then at the end, we'll open the chat bar if there are some people in the chat bar, which there usually are, to free chat bar readings, as I usually do on Thursdays. Okay. So the dream that I'm going to bring up, it's just to get me in sync. So you might have heard this dream before, but it was very, very, very profound in my mind. I was in a space. It was actually a street that had like a suburban feel to it, and down the end of the street was kind of these hills, low mountains kind of thing. And I saw this craft coming down. Now, the weird thing was, it would have been about a year, 2 years ago, I ended up in the actual flat that had, when I pulled back the blinds, an actual suburban street that looked exactly like my dream. So they started to channel messages through me then, quite profoundly. Anyway, so in this dream, just above the low mountains or the hills was this UFO coming in. And I saw it was still in the distance, and it landed at the top of these hills. And I was so excited. I was in my dream going, oh my God, they've arrived. Oh my God, they're here. Holy crap, they're here. And I was so excited about it. There was absolutely no fear whatsoever, just excitement. And I was like, oh, do I go back inside and get my camera? And I actually did go inside trying to find my camera. I'm like, just go out there, just go back out there. And as I walked back out of my house, one of them had morphed into this big, huge spirit ball that was like a rainbow sphere. And it whirled around beside me and then landed on the ground. And then he morphed into a humanoid with dark hair. And then he started to talk to me about the future. And this would have been, I think, around 10 years ago now, probably more, that I actually had this dream. And they started to tell me that the ogres, I'm going to call them ogres, but I have to explain what ogres are, right? So to me, that's the governments, the ones in power, let's put it that way. The ogres would fall. And they were telling me that when they fall, that there was going to be more communication between them and me, and that there was going to be seekers put around the world and that sort of thing. I would really, I think that there was more messages coming through. There was numbers, there was a date, and on that date, the actual number of that date, which was 2020, I think it was the 28th, 29th, 2020 of March. Anyways, on that actual specific date, I had, for the first time, taken I had taken teeny little bits, microdose of a substance, twice, and then this time I took a whole tab thing, and I'd never ever taken it after, because I actually asked my team if I could feel into oneness. What does oneness really truly feel like? And that was 2 years previously that I asked that question, and it took 2 years for me to actually take this. I didn't really want to take any substances because I already saw a lot of things, and but they said if you want to really truly feel into that oneness, then you will have to take an outside substance. You're too mucked up in your head to be able to feel that absolute clarity of meeting oneness. So I did this day, and I saw everything that I had to clear out of my head of not self-supporting myself and looking outside myself for that self-support and all that sort of stuff. And I finally calmed down enough after a few hours of doing that. And then I did end up leaving my body, going further and further and further out until I come to a Taurus energy. And that Taurus energy, I felt oneness. And I saw it was actually the earth was moving from the bottom up and down, and it was entering this vortex. And that was just before, what happened, early 2020s. And I knew that we were going into the quickening. So anyway, all of this had happened through the energy field of the Cyanians coming through, and me, and yeah, they did say that date, and that date was the date that I actually met oneness, because they were telling me that I was returning back to their observer state of mind, so that I could connect to them even more. And they were saying this is communication. It was a communication time. I didn't understand at that moment, and I went out and bought a radio, one of those hand radios, and I thought it was the time, like the actual frequency on the hand radio, but no, it was to do with this date which hadn't arrived, So anyway, it was a bit of a journey. So, anyways, that is part of the story with the Cyanians, and why I know that I can connect with them and that they are coming from a higher dimension. So let's tune in. Hey everybody, hey Sky, hey Diana, hey beautiful you, good to see you here. Okay, now I want to get into their energy and really feel into the untouchables. It's what they keep bringing up. And the reason why they're saying that is because the untouchables is a group of dynamic people. They're saying that are dynamic people that are already clued up from birth to actually be untouchable at a certain stage, which is now. And then they get this feeling, this absolute knowing and wisdom within themselves that they are 100% protected. It's not protection from an outside force. It's protection from their own connection to source energy, to themselves as source energy, God, whatever you want to call it, universe, whatever you want to call it, because they've found this out within themselves. Now, the untouchables isn't just secluded to the untouchables. Anyone can be an untouchable that is here on earth. Any human can become that untouchable. And that's actually what the untouchables want to have happen. As many of us as possible, understanding that we have this inner support within ourselves that is so solid that anything that comes at us outside of us, we either feel into it, and if it feels bad, negative, fearful, vengeful, whatever, we decide, no, that's not part of my universe, it's not part of my reality, and we move our attention to what we really, really want to bring in this world. And we are that willful, we are that strong within ourselves that that's what we choose to do. So that's why they want to bring up the untouchables, because there are those that are starting to feel that vibration now of, wow, it really doesn't matter what they throw at me anymore, because I've been through so much. And most of those people that are so-called untouchables have been through the actual, like, crap and back, like the worst relationships, jobs, people around them, all that sort of stuff, just mud thrown at them, and sometimes it stuck to them, and then they had to find a way of clearing that mud. And finding a way of getting through they keep giving me these visions, like wading through mud and that sort of thing, how they can raise their level so that they feel light as a feather above the mud, so that they are constantly bringing themselves to their central point, so that they are connected more to living purely in the moment and not living or reliving that logical mind that has been trained that way. The whole of humanity has been trained to be completely out of balance and out of whack. And it's because the ones that are training you are already out of whack themselves. So they knew to pull you into their story, they had to get you out of whack as well. So they had to just get you to focus in on just your outer world, your logical mind being the only thing in charge, only the five senses, touch, taste, sight, and we're talking just sight as in seeing with our eyes. Anything that is physically bound on this earth, you were focused on so deeply, so entrenched into that you were not tuned into this inner gift, these inner gifts that you already have within yourself. So the only way to really come back to that inner gift within yourself is to find balance. You cannot enter into the vortex of your own consciousness that is tuned to source energy unless you have found balance between your left and right. We're just going to say left and right hemispheres. I tend to split it that way. It is a split that I see because it's the easiest way for me to, for you guys to understand. We do understand, my team's saying, we do understand that left and right hemispheres have a mixture of things in there that, it's not as clear cut as what you are doing, but to actually split it into that kind of context makes it easier to comprehend by the logical brain, because the logical brain is a compartmentalizer, needs to compartmentalize to feel safe. This is why we have fences all over the earth. This is why we actually compartmentalize our little buildings and everything and separate ourselves from the neighbors, because we're trying to contain our life as our life, and we don't trust anything outside of that so-called box that we are living in. And that is another thing that has just kept us in the dark. They're saying the dark, which is held onto secrets within ourselves that we don't fully understand and comprehend, and those secrets are only found through unity of oneself. And then in the unity of oneself, we trust in ourselves to be able to navigate our life not just through our logical mind, but through our feelings and our getting in touch with who we really truly are. So you have the ability, everyone has the ability to become so-called untouchable by the outside world when we find balance and then navigate ourselves through our inner world. And our inner world is through that feeling-based scenario. Oh my God, that does not feel right. I'm not going there. Ask yourself, because you can create any friggin' story that you want, any story that you love. But ask yourself, where your attention's going, is that the story that you want to create? So whenever you're asking yourself that, what's happening at the moment, we've got those so-called ogres telling us, do this, do that, limit yourself more, that sort of thing. Well, all of that is just repressing you into a state of awareness and a state of mind where you're a victim. And that victim, they've got you. They've still caught you. They've still got you to do what they say. Now, you might say, but many, many, many others are still in that place, right? But it takes only a certain percentage of us to actually get to really, really, really understand that we can change and shift our story to the point where we can literally change them out of our reality. Now, some people might call that quantum jumping or jumping into another time zone or something like that, but it's actually you within yourself deciding through your will what vein, what journey, what river you're going to take. Because of so it's all to do with you and what you're taking, because what you'll find is that everybody else starts to follow, because you are creating the reality that you desire, and you're saying no to the reality that doesn't isn't something that you want to ground anymore. You just don't realize the power of just your own unique self creating a new story. You are fixated on everything outside of you, and so you see that there's 8 billion people in this world, and like 6 billion or 7 billion are still focused in on the outer world, and so that means that there's no way for you to change your reality. But that isn't how it works, because remember, you're still coming from your outside perception, from your logical mind, kind of organizing its reality in a way that means that there's 8 billion people out in this world that are, and 6 billion or 7 billion are against you because they're following another story. That's not how it works. And the Cyanians are like, really, this isn't how it works. You're the creator, you're the central point, the navigation of your own existence, creating your reality. Because you decide that there's 6 billion or 7 billion out there, against what you want to create, that's the way it is. That's literally the way it is. So really what they want you to do is to focus yourself now, not on the 8 billion that's out there, but on your immediate reality. What's coming into your reality at this moment? Who are the people that you are choosing to become, entangled with? Are they clear enough? Are they not? Do you need to stay alone for a bit longer until you do come into alignment with others, or do you not? That sort of thing. It's your choice as you go along, but you are creating your reality through your immediate, the immediate reality that you have around you. So how far does that reality go? It goes as far as what you have in your existence at any given moment. You become untouchable because you realize this. You realize that you are source energy at a spark of consciousness, creating its own illusion or reality. And you decided as that spark to come into the consciousness of humanity that was trapped in a very dead-end reality of only looking outside themselves for confirmation. And then the only way out to return back home is to do this inner work and realize, really, I am the creator of my existence. All Cyanians they are the higher beings of, like the blue-ray beings that are close to source energy, and they can see all different, many different levels of existence. But they know that their existence comes from them. Everything that they have outside of them is coming from within them. And they unify together as a source to be able to navigate parts of source energy that has kind of split themselves away from the central existence of source energy itself, split itself away so far that it feels uncomfortable for source energy in that moment. And so it's only a very short life. The further away it goes from the love of itself, or the source of itself, God, the Godhead, whatever you want to call it, then it becomes a shorter lifespan, because the soul itself, which is still source energy, going on a journey and split itself out further away to have this existence of being further away, feels so uncomfortable that lifetime is only a very small lifetime. So 80, 100 years, very small lifetime compared to many that are in closer to source energy's belt. And also, they said this is necessary for source energy to be able to push itself away into a fringe kind of a existence and separate itself so far so that it can actually create something completely new through resistance. It's the resistance that created this solid reality that we can now have a playground in. But it is time at this moment for the playground to return back to love and source energy so that we can actually feel good and comfortable in this very solid playground. So it's an expansion of the 3D world into more dimensions. We're not just saying 5D, they're saying that's not just 5D. You can go as far as you really want to go. And it does depend too on your soul and what your soul has navigated through before it came in this lifetime and understanding. So this is why they're bringing up the untouchables, because they want as many of us to come back into this untouchable existence where you just go, don't like that story. Yeah, do I want that story in my reality? Nah. Okay, if I don't want that story in my reality, what story do I want in my reality? Where am I going to pull all my focus into? Who do I choose to be around? What do I choose to listen to? What do I choose to see? And what happens then to those that are trying to create the negative story? They get less and less attention. The less attention they have, if you know yourself, when you get less attention, when nobody listens to you, how that feels, that's how they're going to feel times about 100. So like they're going to all of a sudden be like, we don't have the people, we don't have the attention that we want. And they will either split themselves off with those small band of people that do decide to be the victim to their reality to keep their story going, but it will be smaller and smaller and smaller. They're showing me, these Cyanians, they're showing me smaller and smaller and smaller. And then as it gets smaller and smaller, more of them die off, and then they have to either start their evolutional cycle again through the energy field that they already exist in, as a reflection of them as that, meaning that they go back to the start of the evolution of the animals and everything here on Earth, because they're still connected to Earth, or they start their little merry band, and it's a separated sort of a pool over there that really has no navigation or bearing on you. They have infiltrated this reality with many, many movies and programs and stuff to say that there's apocalypse and everything. And I know with myself, when they first came out, oh, this is an adventure. And then, now it's just boring crap. It's the same old repetitive story, and I'm just over it and sick of it. And that's because your soul, my soul, your soul wants to expand into something that's feeling a lot better than what that ever portrays. So they had the money at the time to be able to infiltrate the film industries, and hand out money to people that was creating horror movies from sci-fis and that sort of stuff. So it just was a big game, and they're still playing that game. But we're seeing through it. So this is to do with us becoming sovereignly supported ourselves, because we're supporting ourselves by our new choices, and what we choose and where we put our attention is that new choice. I'm on this timeline with you. Yay, Wade. You may be by yourself, but you're never alone. Thank you, Wade. So funny though. I never feel alone like I used to. I used to feel very alone when I was with partners that weren't that great, or my partners haven't been that great. I used to feel more alone with them than what I do now that I'm on my own, because I don't know, it just feels good. I'm a bit tired these days, but that's about it. But I'm ready and prepared for it, just like everybody else. And these waves of feeling tired are saying to me, that's just a wave of it's just because there's so much being carried and so much karmic crap through family lineage, and not just family lineage, even worldwide lineage that has been cleared by us that are tired. So I'll still keep going. But I am feeling the untouchable as well. I definitely feel that. It's actually been expressed in the way that I'm changing up what I'm actually posting on FB and stuff like that as well. And now that I've navigated, mass exit and created that, which is now a week old today. Mass exit is a page that I created. It's a week old, and it has 1,100 followers already in 1 week. So I'm so rapt about that, because this is really where I shine, because I want to help people navigate to a new reality, but it does have to come from the inside out. It's not just as simple as getting land. Anyways, let's see what else they have to say. Is it tapping? They're saying we are. I'm just going to go with this. They're saying we are watching you. Sounds terrible. We are watching you, but not in a creepy way. We are observing you. We're observing you. We are here, but it's just the telephone line between Minnie and us is so far apart that it's hard to, that's why they've only chosen a few. They have chosen those few that they are calling untouchables at the moment to be able to talk through. But if anyone can talk with them, like my own experience of oneness helped that navigation. I'm not saying go out and do what I did. You follow your own path and what feels really good for you. You have a path that's clear. So now they're showing me golden strands. You have that path is so uniquely valuable to you, and it is so needed in the thread of the tapestry of this new kingdom, queendom, unity value of this next phase. It is so valuable, and you need to see yourself as that value. Where your path is, where your soul is, what has gone through, whether you've been human life after life after life, whether you were persecuted, whether you were, one that persecuted somebody, that sort of thing. It's all of true value when you come back to realizing the love of self and then stepping forward through this solid, unstoppable value that you have. When you're connected to that and you move forward, you're going to break the ice. They're showing me things like having the strength in you because you've gone through so much, and you know that you're still here as a soul now, that the soul is not going to, you can't kill off the soul. You can trap it, but you cannot kill it off. And eventually it will free itself because it always returns back to the source of itself. So in other words, you're always, what do they call it? As a never ending. It's never, ever going to end. And so now what do you do with that never ending time that you have? Of course, as a human, you only have a specific amount of time in this actual body, but you wouldn't want to stay forever in this body anyway, because there's so much more to explore when you really tune in. But because now you're in this body and you have this feeling of, you can't stop me. There's no way you can stop. And through the will of my own self, I can change my story just by imagining a new story and fixating in on it. It starts to develop outside of you. That in itself is power right there that nothing else can stop. You in the thread of who you are can then step forward and say, hey, let's do something a little crazy. We've tried to do their game. It didn't work. Let's do a little crazy. Let's go out and buy blah, 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 buy a huge block of land and split it between us and just see how this all pans out. Let's put into our little vortex that we are going to create this new reality that it's only coming from everyone's hearts. That sort of thing, that you've found this stability within you to be able to navigate who feels right and wrong and coming into that. It's like you're now, I'm going to be something that was closed off a long time ago, where the so-called wizards and witches that held the power of connection to Earth and communicating with Earth and understanding the value of all of the medicines she supplied and the opportunities and openings of the portals to go into other realms with her, to be able to navigate through the animal life and the plant life and everything. And then it was shut down by that masculine mind being in charge and the so-called gods that they portrayed to be gods, but they weren't. They were just logical-minded beings that could navigate through fourth dimensional time, unrestricted time dimensions. And they're saying that you can now become what they closed it. When they closed it down, many wizards became scientists. and they become scientists because it could be like a word that they could use while still doing the magic underneath. But then they sort of got fixated in on that logical world and just became the scientists. So science became the logical magic. So now it's like, oh my God, I can return back to that actual magic. I don't have to be just fixated outside of myself for, to do a study and to, write it all down and then do experiments and la 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 la. You know what? It's always been within your head of what your expectations were that actually came out in the actual equation anyway, because in your head, if you had that this was going to work, you would have found the right substance. You would have come into alignment with the right substance to make it work. And this is working together with the outside, the outer and the inner world to create again, but to realize that it always came from you and your will of yourself, and finding the right ingredients or not actually spurred from your will of yourself. So you can now come back to, they're showing me that's how important these little golden threads of your soul's journey and what it's gone on, how important it is in the now to recognize the power of yourself and who you are. So if you can take past life regressions or something like that, it could help. But you do have to navigate that very carefully through the people that make sure that you're with someone that doesn't influence your, when you're under that sort of thing, to go into those places. You can also ask to have dreams for your past lives and so forth. I know I do them, but I haven't done them for a while. And I really put my price up because it's a lot. Like I have to meditate for a good half an hour, if not to an hour before, to get the storyline and that sort of thing. I'm quite happy just doing the one-on-one readings at the moment. If anyone does want a one-on-one reading, though, sometimes snippets of past lives come through. I just did one on Monday, and that's what happened. And I'll always go where I'm told to go for people too, because I just want everyone to blossom, to bloom. Excuse me. Okay, any more messages, please? They're showing me an eye, and they're showing me the dollar bill, and they're showing me the eye on the dollar bill. It's like they're very, it's so interesting because they wanted them to be the source of your creation. So they created a world that overlapped your fixation on the outside world to say that anything outside of them would be the source of creation. So they came through as these gods. I'm actually still working on the history. I had a big space there where I didn't feel like doing it anymore, but I just started it again this morning. It's a big, long story, the true history of humanity. I had 4 different beings, species coming to me in over the span of 10 years, giving me their outline of what the true history of humanity is. But they're saying that dollar bill with the eye, and they were like, they were trying to get you to believe still that they are the gods, because that's what they came down, because humanity fell to the point where we didn't have that, we didn't trust it in a vibe or a feeling. We didn't want to feel into our feelings anymore because it actually took us through too much guilt because of what had happened. Because there was a whole heap of meddling outside of ourselves, and we really distorted reality for a bit there. And also source energy and its infinite wisdom shut us down as well. So in the shutdown of us from feeling into that feeling side of ourselves, We then had to navigate our life through, okay, well, I can't trust my feelings, so I have to trust somebody outside me. And then that's where it pulled in these other beings. And these other beings stood there and went, we are your gods. And so they're still trying to navigate that. And they're showing me the dollar bill with that eye. So you will find that will be replaced through the eye will still come up. It's really interesting that because they want you to believe that they are the only gods, that they, even though they're outside of us, and to keep not trusting your feelings, and to keep feeling guilty, and to keep feeling all of that, the victim of life. That's how they keep you under their belt. But yeah, so many of us are starting to awaken now and realize, oh my God, we don't want to do that anymore. Why would we want to do that? When we go within ourselves, we go through the guilt, we go through the shadow work, we go through everything that we felt bad about ourselves, and all of our self-talk that we were telling ourselves that was so negative, and that which was all programmed for us to be second best through the schooling systems. And then we find this key beyond the fear, and the key and the code is an expansion of awareness that literally you can connect to so much more and gain so much more wisdom from this inner cortex, just like I do with the wisdom that comes through the channeling. Yeah, there's just so much more. Very cool. Hey, Kelsey, good to see you. Okay. Yeah, so they're showing me, they know that the money game is coming to an end, and they know that we are now coming into a reality. They still want us to focus outside of us, so they tighten the squeeze and then tell us that we will need to be able to join their crew in their way of living. They're bringing in those, they're showing me barcodes on the back of the neck and stuff. It's interesting. They're showing me that sort of microchipping and that sort of stuff. But they're saying the will of one's soul, no matter how far down they go, whether it be the V's, or whatever, doesn't matter how far you go down. The soul and all, because it is source energy, and source energy is fighting source energy, because even they are source energy. There is always another way out. You are not doomed forever just because you took that. You're not. There is always another way out. There's a lot of herbs out there that the world has that can flush you out. There's a lot of things that you can come into contact with. When you put your will on that you are completely clear and that you are safe and that there is nothing that can harm you, you will actually come across even automatically. I mean, they're even saying for me, weirdly enough, I don't know what dragon fruit has in it, as in vitamins and stuff, but there's a lot of dragon fruit outside here, and oh my God, it's freaking delicious. I have never tasted so much, so delicious, and it's all just organically grown here. And I just started to eat them. They're starting to come through, and the oranges here and stuff, and there's fruit out here anyway. So they're showing me your life will literally lead you into a place where you can have the right food for you to clear something specific or to awaken something specific. You have then that mineral that you were lacking that could awaken you to even more and understanding more. There's so much that can go on here. See, so it's not, it's only because we're fixated on, oh, well, that's it. That's it. I'm a goner. I took their advice too much, and I have no way out. Or, now they're saying that, they're going to put out a vibration and make you fry from the inside out or something. I don't know what they're going to do. And then all of a sudden you go, oh my God, they're going to do that. They're going to do that. Well, that in itself, see, you've caught yourself into fear. You haven't said, no, that's not my reality. I will thyself out of that reality. And I am focusing in on my life going a completely different way. My river is running away from theirs, and I am working. I am going to pull in what I need for me to be a healthy human person. And so be it. That's what will happen, because that is the will of source energy working through you. Now, who's more powerful? The so-called beings and those that are so-called in charge at the moment, that are still, that are coming from an unbalanced place, where they're actually source energy as well. But anyway, them or source energy, like in itself, which is everything. And when you tune into everything, then all the answers are there. The answers will be gifted to you. You will get the answers that you need. You just need to say, by the will of myself, that's it. I'm not tuning into their stories anymore. I'm not going into that fear anymore. And I'm trusting myself, and I'm asking myself in every given moment, without their programming, what do I feel like doing today? If I feel like jumping in my car and going off for a journey up to the mountains or something, using fuel, so freaking be it. Because you might never get yourself to a point where you end up finding some fruit that has a specific mineral in it that actually clears you of all the crap that you just don't know how this is going to work. And that's why Cyanians are like, man, there's trillions and trillions of different paths for you guys. There's just trillions of them, but you have put your blinkers on and you've navigated your reality through the eyes of them. That's why they have an eye on the dollar bill, through the eyes of them. They're talking about the temple. I don't actually know what a dollar bill looks like anymore. But anyways, they're talking about the eye on a dollar bill. But anyways, I've forgotten what it looks like, because I haven't, money, right? But anyways, they're saying that that's them, and they're so-called pretending to be gods. So we just have to step out of the fact that they never were to begin with, and that they never have really any power over us unless we only look outside of ourselves and we don't trust our own gut feelings. That's how they have the power over you. So we'll change everything. My metabolism, sorry, can't read that word, has been destroyed. Need to heal. I am whole. I am whole. Yeah, I am whole. And navigate me towards whatever heals me. I am trusting that. I've done that pretty much all my life. Like, I have these very strong intuitions, what to eat, what not to eat. I mean, I'm nearly 60 years old, so I've done really well. I'm really healthy in that. It's kind of like I had these big bumps coming up on my head, and I could not get rid of them, and they were like starting to go brown and form like skin tabs and things, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting old. And I started to get into that, oh my God, I'm getting old. And then one day I just went, no, what are you doing? I can change this. I can shift it. Okay, show me how I can shift it. And then one day I had this cleansing stuff, which I hardly ever used. And my daughter's actually told me to get it ages ago. And I hardly ever used it. And then this one day I just started scrubbing the crap out of it with this cleansing stuff. And I did it every morning, night, and it's gone. And I'm like, wow, like it's gone. Like if you saw me before, I had a big bump here. If you go back in my things, and my face is now clearing up. So this is what I mean. It's like you just get these feelings of doing something, and you follow them because you've already put out with your will that you want this change. You can do this with everything in your life. It's just a matter of, that's what we call coming into frequency with. with the will of oneself saying, no, that's not my story. This is my story. I love this imagination. And now you're taking your imagination back. And they no longer have your imagination hostage over here, fixated on their stories of fear, games, and all of that. So you can change absolutely everything and anything. It's a pyramid, Diana. There's no eye on there. The back of the pyramid on an American dollar. Okay. I don't know why they keep bringing up the eye and then that being the source of everything, and it's like them observing you through that. It's like an eye. And they're like, we are your God. We are your gods. We are your God. Like a reminder constantly, we are your gods. Maybe it's just money. We are your gods. We are your gods. Oh my gosh. Okay. Is there anything else that wants to come through, please, before we... Oh, I haven't even done tarot. They said, you haven't even done tarot. And I'm like, oh, I haven't even done tarot. Okay, let's pull a couple of tarot cards and then we will open up the chat bar for some free readings as well. You've had 2 back surgeries and they was able to heal yourself. Very cool. They told me I was attacked by one of my partners really badly, and it ended up having the bulge of, my spine bulged out kind of thing. And they said, you have to have an operation. And I went home and cried for about 2 hours. And then I just went, no, I am not having an operation. It took me 2 years, I have to admit. But after 2 years, I actually said to myself, when I meet the right person, I'm going to be healed. And then I met this lovely man called Michael, but that didn't work. But when I met him, it healed. So I was like, yeah. I healed it. It did take 2 years, though. And I was in pain for 2 years. But, pretty cool, though. I still healed it. I didn't need an operation. I've never had an operation on my back, so that's cool. Okay. Oh, look at this. Fast movements, man. See, we're going forward. The arrow is like we're really moving forward. This is the will of oneself. Look at this guy. He knows exactly where he's pointing his arrow, and he knows exactly where he's going. This is what we need to become aware of, that when we know exactly where we're going and what we really want, and if you see it, there's so many people out in this world that are saying, we want to buy up land, we want to start communities, we want to have our own food, we want to grow it, and we want to trust one another again, and that sort of thing. But you have to trust yourself to be able to trust another. So you first work on trusting yourself and who you choose before you trust in another. Because otherwise you can't go into those communities of judgment or anything like that. You just putting poison back into that reality again. They're bringing me to the Mayans. There was a story, the Mayans. I don't know if it was called the Mayans. It was it was about them when everything fell. It's pretty close to the story of what actually happened. And the tribes were walking around, and there was a tribe that was completely in fear because they had been attacked. And then the shaman went up and said, do not bring that disease into our reality. Do not bring that disease into our tribe. Because they knew that as soon as they started to come into fear, then they would get sucked in. Well, we're doing the opposite. We're now learning how to abandon the fear program so that we could start something new. So even if you do know where you're going, you have to have that sort of feeling of, this arrow is shot from my heart, knowing that I am going to be in a community that is non-judgmental, no guilt. We are here to help one another and rely on each other and form a unity in a group. There'll be symbiotic ways. You'll start to literally become telepathic with each other anyway. And in that, you'll know when somebody is down and needs to be helped a little or left alone for their own device to get themselves out of it and that sort of thing. It's a whole different game. It feels different, and it's going to feel very kind of strange to the logical mind who is transfixed on that fear game. Okay, so we also have two more that's come out. No way. Look at this. Look at this. The Empress and the Emperor. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, so the Empress is on her head, and it's literally like the yin yang feeling. I literally have that yin yang feeling of understanding there's a little bit of the Emperor in the Empress, and there's a little bit of the Empress in the Emperor. There's a little bit of looking outside oneself from the intuitive side, and there's a little bit of looking within oneself from the logical mind. And we have to kind of have that unity that comes in like that, because otherwise there's nowhere to connect one side to the other, and it has to be through love. So yeah, so cool. I cannot believe that the cards fell like that. The Empress and the Emperor. This is it, guys. This is where we come into unity of ourselves. And we are our own sovereign selves, the Emperor and the Empress. And it doesn't matter that, one's on its head or one is not. One's in charge in that moment, and we're letting our intuition take the reins at the moment, because we need to navigate ourselves out of an Emperor that's gone a little bit, logical mind that's gone a little bit crazy here. So we're like, hey, can we turn that round? Can we turn that round where the Emperor, we're just going to let the Emperors coming in, and then maybe, a few years' time, we need the Emperor coming back so we can ground more. We need to ground more in this reality in a real substance way. But really, really cool how that happened. I love how that fell. That is so cool. So the Cyanians are really here, and they're really like working through these cards as well. They're like, you have no idea how freaking integrated we are. It is not like we're out there and you're here. We are together. This is one. And so all navigates through as the messages that come through, even the cards. Doesn't make any difference whether it's a message from Bobbie or a message from the cards themselves. We have the Five of Swords that has come out. They're showing me that whole, look at him though. Five of Swords to me is usually a victim mentality, and you need to get your swords up. But look at him. He looks like he's like, I can wield my sword. Oh, I'm not a victim. Like, he doesn't look like a victim to me. Don't know if you see that, guys, but he's like, I know how to wield my own mind, because the swords represent mind. I know how to wield this. I've already gone through the victim stage. I've figured it out. It's so interesting, because I've never noticed that Five of Swords like that before. Yeah, I'm so not surprised to see this. See? So we have that Five of Swords and stepping into our, you know what, I'm going to turn my victim into a positive. Because I was feeling so like everything was coming unstuck and everything was going wrong, and yet I'm still here, and yet I'm still moving forward a little bit. I'm still finding my feet. I'm still here, right? So that in itself gives you power, meaning that you cannot be taken down even when you're at your lowest of points. Even when you're the victim of all victims, you cannot be taken down. And this is what is coming up for you, because you're choosing to turn that 5 into and jumpstart it into a 10 straight up. 10 of Pentacles, literally grounding your utopia on earth here in the now is where we're really going. Very, very cool. Victim becomes aware. Hey, Nick. So cool. But yeah, he does not look like a victim to me. Okay, and it's got one come out over top. We need to face something. We need to face something. Okay, what are we facing? Okay, so we have the Eight of Swords also came out on its side, facing something, facing where you were feeling crap about yourself and why you would self-talk. They're showing me self-talk. Every single sword here is your own self-talk. You were always in control of it. You were never the victim from some perpetrator outside of you. You planted those mind bombs in your own head, and you stood in the middle and closed your eyes to it all. And yet you kept on repeating those mind bombs. I'm looking that way. Oh, yeah, no, I can't go that way. I'm useless. Oh, no, I can't go that way. That's never going to happen. Oh, that's impossible. Oh, my imagination, what a load of crop is that? These are the mind bombs that we've been telling ourselves. And we put ourselves in the middle, and then we blindfolded ourselves, but we couldn't turn anywhere because we were still chatting to ourselves with this. Now, when we realize what we've done to ourselves, and we cannot put the blame on someone outside of us anymore, because we need to take that responsibility back for ourselves to be able to change it. You can't change them. You can't change those dudes out there that are infiltrating humanity's consciousness with their fair games. You can't change them. They're going to keep doing the same shit. All you can do is change this and how you're navigating your reality. Now, your reality starts to spark a consciousness from the inside out, and you start to see only things changing around you that are navigating through the eyes of yourself, not through the eyes of them. Through the eyes of yourself. You are shifting reality. Your reality is worth shifting into a higher vibration, and you can carve the path for many, because look what happens next. The Six of Wands, we are finding victory, and the King of Cups. And the King of Cups is someone who's emotionally stable now. And like the Six of Wands is someone who's, oh my God, the Six of Wands comes before the Eight of Wands, right? But you have to almost find victory to be able to fire that victory out to the sky. I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. And that's it. I'm moving forward. And the fish, there's something about the fish, and I think that there is a bit of a fish in that cup. And they're showing me the fish as the psychic gifts and everything coming your way through the emotional stability of oneself. Okay. That's cool. Right, I will leave it there. So if you are leaving me here now, thank you very much for being part of this. But if you want to keep on listening to the chat bar readings, there might be a message in that for you. So if anyone wants a chat bar reading, I'm here to offer free readings, free small readings. And if you want a full-on one-on-one hour with me, then the link is down below. All good. Okay, everybody, who would like to have a reading? This is a wonderful spiritual pep talk. Thanks, Bobby, and the Cyanians for our oversource. Yeah, you're welcome. We have to keep on. It's very important to have these pep talks, because when we are fighting against what our mind has been telling us, it's great to have someone outside of you actually telling you something that is a positive, so that you can navigate that instead of listening to the news and the doom and the gloom and the blah, blah, blah out there. Yeah. So that's why my team, the Cyanians, are like, give them hope. Give them, they can change anything. You could change anything overnight, by the way, anything overnight. You just go, nah, nothing to that story. I'm shifting my reality. Yeah, so cool. Okay. Passover is at 12, la la la. I don't know what that means. This is a wonderful spiritual, and I've done that one. I would love a reading. Okay, sorry. To read everything all over again. Beautiful you. A beautiful you. Okay. So beautiful you. That's too many. We have about 6 cards that came out in one clump. Beautiful you, please. They've made me focus on the word fortune, which is a good word to focus on for you, right? Beautiful you. Fortune. So maybe abundance is coming in for you. Finding temperance within yourself, navigating your world through balance. Balance is clarity. Balance isn't necessarily, well, if I did that, then I should do this. And I'll find balance because I've balanced myself in a logical kind of a way. Balance is more to do with coming into alignment, especially the Temperance card, coming into alignment of needing less and less outside of myself to find balance. It's like a stillness, that stillness within yourself. And then you find temperance of navigating your path because clarity comes in. So this is for you to find your fortune. They're asking you to find clarity first, and then you will find your fortune. They're literally showing me you becoming an alchemist in your reality, which is fantastic because we need more alchemists in our reality because they're the creators of the next step, right? So that's so cool. Okay, I'll leave it there for you. That was a pretty cool, fun reading anyway. Okay, Wade. Wade doesn't always say yes, so that's cool. Wade. Okay, now the word mystic is coming up for you. Mystic. It's like past lives that you've had are starting to come on board as your gifts. Whew, that's really cool. Past lives is coming on board. You're definitely pulling that thread of your past lives and asking yourself, how can I get to more and more of these gifts? I want more of them. I want more. More, please. That was so funny, Oliver. Okay. Okay, so we have the Eight of Cups and we have the Moon in reverse. So weird that it's the moon when you did all that moon work. And both of these cards have the moon. Definitely something to do with past lives here. I just feel it. Like literally walking away from something that happened to you in a past life that maybe you were condemned or you were persecuted or you were ignored, one or the other. And when that happened, it totally brought in fear in the next life and the next life. And now it's like, wow, I have to go back to that life to navigate that life, to be able to pull through the thread of the gift that they were trying to repress, which I ended up agreeing to so that I could have a life after that. In the agreements. And so then you were feeling really in those lives because you weren't your true magnificent self. This is returning back to your magnificent self. Oh my God, the card that's next on the bottom of the deck has another moon in it. Wow, no wonder you're working with a moon. Two of Swords. They're not wanting, this person doesn't want to see the truth in themselves. So you are navigating this and you will break through. This is the moon, the Libra moon, I think it is. This is the moon where you navigate something to pull through a new gift of yours. Love it. Okay, who else have we got here? Celtic. Messages for Celtic, please. Okay, we have one just slid out there, and it's the Tower in reverse. So this is a moment in your life where you're like, I'm going to jump. I'm taking a leap of faith here. I'm just going to do this different weird thing over here that nobody else really expects me to do. And then because the Tower in reverse, if it's upright, it's like the tower, your life is crumbling. Everything's crumbling around it. It's coming apart. That's what the Tower actually means. It's to clear the path for something new. In reverse, I always feel like it's the person that's creating the Tower moment. That's it. I've had enough of this. I'm creating my own Tower moment. Because you're actually more in control when you do create that Tower moment, because you take a leap of faith off the tower, off your life. And usually when you take a leap of faith meaning that you will be caught in a very nice way. So it's like, I'm not waiting for my life to crumble down here. I am going to take this leap. So there's something about you leaping into something new. Okay, Alice W5. S. Yes, thank you, Bobbie. My roommate has a guy friend that comes over much and just want to make a puppet. He's so unbalanced and he doesn't want to see it, but she does. Okay. Elise. Hey, James. Good to see you. Elise. James is one of my Facebook followers. He's constantly on my Facebook. Elise. Nothing's coming through, Elise. Okay, you have no message. No, that's so mean, isn't it? Elise. Okay, we have one that did pop out eventually. Took a bit of time. 10 of Wands in reverse. Carrying a bit too much and you need to put it down, like they're saying, I think you might have put it down, or you're just putting it down because it's in reverse. And upright's like, oh my God, the burdens of life, holy crap. Or even the mind games that we play within our heads is like too much, too much, too much. It's like, this card is saying, absolutely, let it go. Like, really, this is not doing you any justice anymore. And I think you know this. It's kind of like just the matter of putting it into practice. Sometimes when I'm driving in that and I have a negative mindset, I just go, nah, thanks. And then just try to imagine anything that's beautiful, that you really love. Because you just don't want to give any more attention to that neuron path in your brain anymore. Because literally the more that you think over a neuron path, the stronger it gets. The stronger it gets, the more it creates all these other paths from it. And then you've got all this like reality based on that path that is just a negative mindset. And it starts to become part of your reality, because the logical mind is always trying to confirm to itself, outside of itself, how to navigate life. So it's searching for some confirmation of the path, of the negative path, the negative mind to go over. So I really feel this is you shifting up your head space as you go along. Okay, Sky. Love me on every day. Okay, cool. I probably won't be on maybe sometime in the weekend, but I do have to do some other work tomorrow. Wow, Sky, you have a bit of a broken heart here. Okay, it's like something is piercing your heart space. Oh, is it nostalgia? Hang on, just let me get another card for that one. Is it nostalgia? Oh, that one flew into the actual handle of the... Yeah, it's time to shift the wheel. Sometimes when we're shifting the wheel and we're taking a really big change, like we're moving into something totally different, there is this kind of looking back and the nostalgia of what one's gone through and the pain that one went through and that sort of thing can rear its head right at the very end, but it only means that it's like a proverbial death of that victim mindset. So I feel with this card, there's a proverbial death of your mind, of your victim mindset, so that you can refresh and become this whole new game, which is a totally different story without a victim mindset anymore. Yeah, okay, I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, you have on the back of the pack the High Priestess that's also come in. So this is what's wanting to come in for you, is totally different new you. More spiritually evolved in knowing self, and I don't know, becoming your own channeler. I don't know, something really cool and profound there. Who else? We have Diana. Okay, we have Diana the Magician in reverse. So the Magician in reverse. Sorry, I just had my mind taken over by another thought. So that's interesting. Be careful that you don't get your mind taken over by other thoughts. The Magician in reverse is almost like looking at all of what you have, all of the gifts that you have. Sorry, I'm just going to get another card. And then another card fell out over top of it. We had Justice. So yeah, with this being in reverse, maybe this is you like looking at some of your past lives and stuff and reclaiming some of these gifts that you had that were condemned, because Justice came over top of it. And excuse me, justice is that balanced mind, right? That understanding that, you know, justice will always come. You know, if you've gone through quite a few lives that have just been really, then eventually that all comes back. And can you imagine a stretched rubber band of that firing ahead? Like, that'll be absolutely really, really cool. So justice could be that something really cool is ready to come in for you, but there has to be work done on your past lives to be able to bring in the tools and the gifts that you really do need to accomplish to move on. Okay, I'll leave it there. I don't know why James' message was retracted. That's interesting. I posted on your YouTube page. Nice, thank you. Hi, Carter, good to see you. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I think that's about it. I'm still shuffling the cards for some weird reason. I'll get one more card for the whole of everyone, and then we will leave it there. Look, be careful not to fight the fight. As soon as you fight the fight, as soon as you fight that fight, you know what's happening at the moment out there, and they want you to fight. As soon as you fight the fight, you are connected. See how they're connected? They become one in that fight. You don't want to become one in the fight. And also this person, he has all these little buttons. When you're fighting constantly, you can easily be triggered. So this is a card, definitely. Do not fight the fight. If you feel like you're fighting the fight, step back. Let's say to yourself, you know, someone else can take that reign. I'm going to start creating my own reality over here. I'm going to focus on this. So, yeah. Okay. You're welcome, Diana. Very cool. Been a very dry and all winter. Dry. Wow. It's been really good here. We've had just enough rain in Australia and Queensland coming up. Okay, guys, I will leave it there. Thank you so much, everybody. Until next time. Bye.